Hi guys, what is Bitcoin? On today's video we're gonna discuss the subject, a very easy way to understand, so stick around, consider subscribe and hit that bell to get the latest from our channel. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. My name is Gil and you're watching Crypto Time channel. So I hope everyone is very well today. So let's share the screen. Here we are. Guys, the idea today is to answer those questions. So what is Bitcoin and what are the Bitcoin attributes? How does Bitcoin work? And finally, which companies have been accepting Bitcoin? So let's move to the first one. So here we have it. So first things first, so Bitcoin was introduced to the public back in 2009, just after the 2008 crisis, the subprime crisis. So was by an anonymous developer or a group of developers using the name Satoshi Nakamoto. So Bitcoin now has been quite a while around. So the second point is, so Bitcoin, guys, actually is a virtual currency designed to act as money in a form of payment. So Bitcoin basically, in a very simple term, is digital money. Okay, that's what it is. But has some attributes. So one of them is a decentralized digital currency. Okay, so you can buy and sell and exchange Bitcoin directly without any third party such as banks. Okay, so Bitcoin basically again is a digital currency. All right, so we're gonna discuss more things in a minute, so let's move on. Here we have another one, some of Bitcoin facts. So it was the first cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin, as they say, Bitcoin is king. So it was the first one. And the invention of Bitcoin was the first example of a blockchain technology. And we'll see that in a minute. So again, Bitcoin is the most popular cryptocurrency, both in terms of market cap and dominance. So again, Bitcoin is the king. Okay, and has been since its creation. So there is a limited supply of 21 million Bitcoins. So we're gonna see that in a minute, but it's very important to remember that it will be a specific amount of Bitcoins out there, and that's it. So 21 million is the number. All right, and it was invented again by a person or a group of people known as Satoshi Nakamoto. All right, so nobody knows exactly who created or what group created that. So Bitcoin inspired all other cryptocurrencies, also known as alternative coins or altcoins for short. Okay, so we have Bitcoin and altcoins. So everything else, a part of Bitcoin is called altcoins. All right. So let's move on. Then we have, Bitcoin attributes. So this first table is just to compare Bitcoin with, gold and fiat money. So fiat money is basically, currency backed by a government. So US dollar, could be euro, pounds, yens. So whatever currency backed by a government. All right. So we are basically comparing those three. I'm not gonna go through every single one of them, but some of them are very interesting. So such as so highly divisible. So Bitcoin is very gets the status high here because you don't need to buy one Bitcoin. Okay, one whole Bitcoin. I mean, you can buy a portion, okay, of that Bitcoin, and those portions are called satoshis. So we have like many decimal place there, so is highly divisible Bitcoin. So you can own just a fraction of a whole Bitcoin. So you cannot do that with fiat money or gold, because they have limited different amounts for that asset. So you could have minimum of maybe 10 cents in dollar, or 5 cents, but in Bitcoin we have like very highly divisible assets. So that gives you an opportunity to buy small fractions. That's a good thing. So another thing is security. So Bitcoin use cryptography, so it's very secure assets, and again is easily transactable. So Bitcoin is a digital currency, so use digital technology, so very easy to change, to exchange, to buy, to sell. And here is one important attribute. So Bitcoin is scarce. It's a very, very scarce. Again, gold is moderate because we still have in nature, and fiat, governments can print as much as they want to, but however, Bitcoin will have has actually limited supply of 21 million, as we saw on the previous slide. Okay, so that's a very important attribute for Bitcoin. So that basically is one attribute that fights against the inflation. So and then another one here, very, very important, is decentralized. So Bitcoin is very decentralized, so there is no third party involved. So you can do a transaction between you and a second person without having a bank or a government or anyone in between. All right, so that's a very important attribute of Bitcoin. All right, so let's move on. The next slide is, so it's basically comparing Bitcoin and fiat money. So Bitcoin is created by decentralized and and distributed computing. So basically, again, you can do a transaction without a third party being involved. While in fiat money you have to have a bank or institution in between. All right, so for Bitcoin, is basically we have is governed by the majority rule, which is a network consensus. So everything Bitcoin is about its network, its blockchain. While in fiat money is everything is ruled by a central bank. Okay. Another thing is, so we can involve only two parties, okay, to do a transaction. While in fiat money, we have to have a bank, a third party such as a bank. All right, and another thing is in Bitcoin. So depending on the network speed, transactions could take minutes, right? While in fiat money, if I want to transfer money to someone in another country, could take, let's say, days. All right, so it's very fast, do transactions, using Bitcoin network. So another one is, chargeback is possible, for Bitcoin after the transaction has been made, while a chargeback is possible in fiat money. So those are some difference between the two. So let's move on. So, and how does Bitcoin work? So we have it here. Very simple way to to describe and this flow is with this with this picture. So basically we have the senders and receivers. So the person A will send some Bitcoin to person B, right? So that is made through the blockchain, through the Bitcoin blockchain. All right. So the idea is to send Bitcoins to another person, and the Bitcoin miners actually, so they will validate, okay, those transactions within the network. We're gonna see that in a minute. So the Bitcoin miners, they will basically write, okay, if you like, they will write that those transactions in a public ledger, because again, Bitcoin is decentralized, so everything is public. So we can see actually all the transactions since its creation. Okay, so it's it's a public ledger. So the Bitcoin miners, they will do that. They will validate in the blockchain those transactions. Okay, so here on the on this part of this picture, we have the bank and exchange. So we have those two, we have those two players here, where what we're gonna do is in real life, what we do is we're gonna take our fiat money, and then we're gonna buy Bitcoin. Okay, so let's let's start off the process of buying Bitcoin. So what we would do is to transfer money from a bank, from our bank, into a crypto exchange. So there are lots of them out there, such as we have Kraken, Binance, we have Coinbase, Gate, and much more, right? So we would have to have, in this example, right, we'd have to have a account on a crypto exchange, and could be a centralized one or decentralized one, and then we would transfer our money, fiat money, euro, dollars, whatever, into those exchanges, and use their platform to buy or sell or exchange Bitcoins. We also can do that peer-to-peer, right, directly. So I will send money directly to another person. But the idea here is to show the many possibilities that we have. So we could transfer money from bank to exchange, and then from the exchange we would buy Bitcoins and send Bitcoins to another person, do whatever transactions we want to do. Okay, and then the Bitcoin miners, they would validate all the transactions, no matter if it's selling or buying, whatever. They would validate that in a public ledger. Okay, so let's move on. So here's another one to show how the blockchain works. So we can kick off here. So we're gonna have a transaction, and then the miners again could be selling or buying Bitcoins, or even trading Bitcoins, and then the miners, they would validate those transactions, and as soon as they have some of transactions done, they would add those transactions into a block. So, and that block will be eventually added to the blockchain. So the block will contain a couple of transactions, but before add that block into the blockchain, they have to solve a block puzzle, which is basically a puzzle from algorithm within the blockchain, and that would give them a proof of work. So okay, they figure out the puzzle, so they have validated a couple of transactions into the block, and now they have a proof of work. They have done that, so they would be rewarded by that job, okay, and they would receive bitcoins for that job, and then they would broadcasting that into the network, so into that public ledger. So, and then that public ledger would contain many transactions, and that block will be added into the blockchain, okay, and the blockchain will be updated and the process can start over again. Okay, let's move on. And here is a simple way to show how the transaction get into the blockchain. All right, so here the first step, we are doing a transaction here through a computer or whatever, smartphone, phone, and then a block will represent some transactions created, okay, and so those will be within that block, and that block is sent to every node of the network. So the Bitcoin is part of the Bitcoin network. Is a blockchain. It uses a blockchain technology, which basically is tons of computers around the globe, which sustain that blockchain, sustain that that network. So once you request a transaction, so that block will be sent to every single node into the network. So that node could be one simple PC or laptop, but nowadays we have several computers with very powerful process power, and they will get that information, and they will try to validate that that block. So that block then again, that block is sent to to the whole network of computers around the globe, and then those computers will try to validate those transactions within that block. So here we have the block, and communicating with different computers around the globe. So the first computer, or to get that and to solve that puzzle, they will receive a reward for the proof of work, and is in Bitcoin. Okay, so again, the block is sent to all nodes within the blockchain, and the first node, or the first computer to solve a puzzle, so it's an algorithm puzzle, then the system will give those miners or those nodes proof of work, and they will be rewarded in Bitcoins. Okay, and then that block finally is added to the existing blockchain. Okay, so one more block is added, and now we have that new block distributed across the network. Is up, so then the transaction is completed and the network is updated. Okay, so that's how it works. Very simple way, the Bitcoin blockchain. All right, so let's move on. And now we have which companies have been accepting Bitcoin. So here's just flavor of it. So we have, let's say, food and drink. We have Subway, leisure and travel. We have Lamborghini. I think it was the first actually car company to accept Bitcoin. So we have Tesla. We have under retailers, we have AXA, Shopify. Under online media, we have Reddit, for example, and again many more. Microsoft, Dell, you know, time, and the list goes on. We have McDonald's, Wikipedia, PayPal, again, Subway again, so Steam. So I'm just trying to show you, to show that many companies have been accepting Bitcoin over the years. So the acceptance is growing, okay, over the years. So even like countries have been accepting, you know, Bitcoin. So and then we move to the next slide, which has a list of the 50 countries most interested in cryptocurrency. So I hope you can see that, but the first one in the list is United States, leading the way. And then on second place we have India, and then the UK on the third place, Indonesia, Canada, Vietnam, Australia, Nigeria, and the list goes on. Okay, it's just to give you a flavor of, you know, the acceptance of Bitcoin by countries and companies. You can Google it and see for yourselves. So the idea today was to bring you know, what Bitcoin is in a very simple way, because we don't need, as investors, okay, we don't need to understand the technical part of Bitcoin and the blockchain technology unless you are interested, you know, to go and work into that industry. All right. I think I'm gonna move to. I think I'm gonna show you here very quickly how can we check the transactions and blocks within the Bitcoin network. Okay, so here I am on the blockchain.com you know, explorer. We have many of them. You can, you know, type Bitcoin blockchain explorer or only blockchain explorer, and then you'll see many platforms offering this service. So it's free. So you just go there, click, and then you will land on this page right here. So as you can see here, we have the latest transactions going on. So let me just click here and maybe open a new tab of the latest transactions. So here we have, okay, this long hash, you know, code or string, basically showing, you know, the private addresses of, you know, users into the blockchain, into the network. And then we have the timestamp of that transaction and the amount of Bitcoin as part of that transaction, and then the amount of money spent in, you know, in US dollars for reference. Okay, so it's public. So this is one advantage of the blockchain. And then we can see as well the blocks. So if you click and then you can see the blocks and the miners as well. Okay, the size of that block. Okay, if you go back here, you can see, you know, the percentage of that block. Okay, so again, this is just to give you, you know, a picture. So there are many, you know, attributes, you know, that makes Bitcoin a very unique asset. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. I hope I could, you know, fulfill that gap where we can discuss Bitcoin and what actually is in a very simple way. Please leave your thoughts down below in the comments. Again, follow us on Twitter, Instagram. We've been posting, you know, daily analysis there of the markets, especially, you know, on those two platforms, Twitter and Instagram. We've been posting there, so check it out. I hope you have enjoyed, guys, and see you on the next video.